Welcome to The Trend, sponsored by Hint. I'm Rebecca Granet. Well, there are a lot of dream interviews on my list, but today, guys, this is a big one. He is a musician, he's a podcaster, he's a 6-time WWE champion, a 3-time best-selling author whose new book is out tomorrow. It's called No is a 4-letter word. And Chris Jericho, you've just made the list.
You got to hold up to let everybody see it.
You got to see it,
right
guys.
There. Check it out. That's hilarious.
There
Talk
you go.
about just a throwaway thing that became this huge, like, iconic, quote-unquote wrestling, legend, the list. It was just never was supposed to be that.
It was never supposed to be this big?
You don't ever really know. You never can predict that, right?
Uh-huh.
But I never thought it was going to be anything. I'm going to put you on the list. And then suddenly, like, you see, like, people start, like, really getting into it and making signs, and then next thing you know, it's like rolling down the mountain, becoming this huge thing. Yeah. You just never know what's gonna strike a chord with people, and that's a definite hilarious.
Oh, people are loving
so
this
ridiculous, the list. So everybody wants to be on the list too. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm doing signings for the book signings, it's like, hey, can you write? You just made the list. So if you're watching this and you're coming to the signing tomorrow, and you're not getting put on the list. I can't just throw people's name on the list, okay? You have to actually earn it.
See, obviously I'm a lot nicer with my list because easily you're just right on it.
Well, the thing is that everybody wants to be on it now, so there's, I guess, the list, which started out as a bad thing, is now a good thing. The list has turned babyface.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not a heel anymore,
it's a babyface
for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about this book.
Yes.
It's your 4th book. Congratulations, coming out tomorrow.
Thank you.
No is a 4-letter word. I want to start with the title specifically. Why do you think that no is as bad as a curse word?
Because I find the whole concept of this book, and we talked a little bit about before, is I've done 3 autobiographies. They're all successful New York Times bestsellers. I love writing, so I wanted to do a 4th, but I thought 4 autobiographies in 10 years might be a little overkill. It's not like I'm Kierkegaard or George Bush or something. So I thought that I needed a different slant on this, and I always get asked the same question. How did you make it in wrestling? How did you make it in a rock and roll band? How could you do all these things that you do? So I kind of went through my mind and came up with 20 principles based on advice or lessons that I'd learned from certain people, from Gene Simmons to Vince McMahon to my dad to fictional characters like Yoda, and put them all on the list, and kind of write the book around that. So it's become, it's become almost a, well, not almost, it's become like a self-help manual on how you can learn from the lessons that I have figured out over the years and achieve the goals of your own.
Yeah. I want to mention to everybody, just remind them that we are on Facebook Live, so hi to everybody. And if you do have questions for Chris, make sure to send them in, and we'll try to get as many in as we can as well. So I want to talk about the 2nd chapter in the book you call the Jericho Principle, which stood out to me. And the principle is to believe in yourself or nobody else will.
Right.
You've been successful in 2 industries that are different, entertainment industries that are both very long shots if you were just going to try to be successful in one, wrestling and music, right?
Right.
How important was the process of your journey using that principle and finding your success with that principle?
Well, I talk about it, and it's funny because Paul Stanley did the foreword for this book, but something that Paul said in this documentary that I saw like in 1987 always stuck with me. And what he said was, the only people that tell you you can't do something are the ones that have failed. I'm not going to tell you can't do something because I did it, you can do it. And that to me was like the direct message from the heavens, like, you can do it, Chris. So when I decided I love music, I love wrestling, I want to do this. Yeah. Well, you'll never get into wrestling, you're too small. You'll never get into a rock and roll band, you can't, whatever. And I just realized really early on, it's like, I just don't care what anybody else thinks. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And using Paul's words, if they're telling me that I can't do it, it's probably because they're miserable in their own lives. I'm not going to be that way. I refuse. So that Jericho Principle, believing in yourself, it really is maybe the most important principle in the book, because if you have any doubts, you have to have full confidence in your talents, in your abilities, in your passion to want to do something. And if you have that, you can make it happen. And that's why I say no is a 4-letter word, because no is it is a profanity, because it's very easily accepted. It's very easy thrown out there of just like, can I do this? No. Okay, a lot of people just accept that no. I always wanted to almost dissect that. Well, why are you saying no? Are you really saying no, or do you just not know the answer? Do you not feel like, are you too lazy to do this? What is the reason? And I find 9 times out of 10, when that no is spit out, you can get the yes that you want by really focusing and just making things happen against this no that's thrown in your face.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you were going through this book and the writing process of this book, did you remind yourself about some of the things that you had to go through and some of the moments of saying to yourself, no, I can do this, and some of the hardships that you had going along the way?
Yeah, and the things too about this book, like it's funny because when you write an autobiography, you're going for a certain period of time, you know, from 2000 to 2007. This happened, this happened. This book is everything, encompassing my whole life. And there's certain adages, like, you know, certain principles, like the Yoda principle, there is no try, there's only do. That's an easy one. The Jericho Principle. But there's other ones that I had great stories that I wanted to tell. So how do I come up with a principle that fits this story? You know, the Keith Richards principle is about how I met Keith Richards with an assist from Jimmy Fallon and Vince McMahon.
Which is a very cool story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But what a weird selection of people. So I want to write the story, but what's the principle? And then I realized as I was writing that there was all of these reasons why I shouldn't have taken this chance to meet Keith Richards, and only a few reasons why I should have. And instead of focusing on the reasons why something couldn't happen, I went and focused on the reasons why it could happen and made it happen. And that turns out to be what a great principle, both as a lesson and as a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And what I like is that the stories help the lessons stick. It's
Yeah.
like glue, you know? It makes
Right.
you remember it a little bit more, which is
Yeah,
nice
exactly.
as well.
Like I said, so writing this, okay, I gotta tell this story, the Yoko Ono pee story. And then you're like, with the Yoko Ono
This
pee
is
story.
ridiculous, guys.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get this book and you're gonna do this, and you're like, what?
Like, what a creep he was. But it was just such a great story to tell. I hid in a bathroom stall and heard Yoko Ono peeing. So there you go.
No big deal, you know, whatever.
But I wanted I have to tell this story once again. What's the principle based around that? And that was the Viv Savage principle, guy from Spinal Tap. Have a good time all the time. And I remember when I was gonna we went into the bathroom at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The security came in and said, "Yoko is coming in. Everybody has to leave." So everyone left except for me, and I just went into the bathroom stall, closed the door, locked it, and then like crouched on the toilet seat like a spy. For what? Why? I don't know, but all I was thinking was this is going to make a great story in the next book. Have a good time. And what, like I said, is it creepy? Yeah, I apologize, Miss Ono, but what a hilarious story. And I'm really glad that I did. I'm glad that I just decided I'm just gonna have a good time and go for it. So
you know, the wrestling, the training, the wrestling, you're like, all right, I'm here, I got the position, I'm going to
ninja moves. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, and then McCartney's involved. It's one of the cornerstones for me of the book. And once again, has nothing to do with wrestling, which is another thing. I don't write these books for wrestling fans. I know they're gonna buy it and read it and whatever. This book is for people that don't even care about wrestling, but are caring about an interesting journey and learning a few things about maybe how they can help themselves as well. So you know, when you spend a lot of time writing a book, like we talked about earlier, it's been about a year and change. When it actually comes out and people are actually getting into it, like you read it, like this is the fun part about writing a book.
Right?
You know,
can get the reaction. See
the
what
results,
people are feeling about it.
Yeah, and then what stories do you like best and what principles are helping you?
Speaking of reaction, that was a perfect segue for me for a second.
Nice.
We talked about it, that you have been so successful with Fozzy and with your wrestling career as well. But what's cool about both of these is that in both industries, you deal so much on crowd reaction and entertainment value.
Yeah.
So for you as a person, I want to know what it's like when you walk out into the ring or walk out on stage and you get that reaction. I'm going to say it. Drinking it in, man.
Yeah.
What is that like for you, getting that reaction?
Well, I mean, it's always, obviously, it's gratifying. It's why we do it. It's electric, you know, being a live performer. You know, that's why The Rock comes back to wrestling from time to time. Because when you're making movies and making TV shows, there's no instant reaction. It's take 2, take 3, take 5, you know, 8 hours of filming, 12 hours of filming. Wrestling, I can go out for 20 minutes and have the crowd in the palm of my hand. A Fozzy gig, 90 minutes, and just have this great, amazing rock and roll feeling. That's something that you can't replace. And that all stems from connecting with your audience. one of the principles, the David Bowie principle, is you have to reinvent yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I have such a connection. I never really do the same thing over and over again. There's always a change, whether it's just a look or a catchphrase or whatever it may be. Same with Fozzy, change a little bit of your style where it's still rooted in the band, but you're taking some chances. That keeps things exciting. And I think that's, once again, you can use that in your life in general. If you're stuck in a rut, relationship-wise, job-wise, whatever it may be, reinvent yourself. Make some changes. Move forward instead of remaining stagnant. And if you can do that in the show business world, you have that connection. People will always be excited to see you, and they'll always give you a great ovation whenever you go out.
Something I was really excited about reading in this book was you do go out, and like I was so happy when I got to the chapter. I was like, oh my gosh, she's really going to go there. You were talking about, I call it the Thumbtack Match.
Right.
When you fell on the thumbtacks.
Well,
which I remember,
thrown into it.
Yes, thrown into it, yes. And I remember watching that and going, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. Is there anything you will not do in the ring? Is there a hard line for you where you say no?
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's stuff, like, there's just insane, crazy stuff that's got no value towards the match that people do just to get a reaction. And it wasn't like I was, jumping up and down going, I'm going to take a thumbtack punch. But the reason why, I tell the story in the book, why that thumbtack bump needed to happen from me was because I'm working with Dean Ambrose, who's the lunatic fringe. He's crazy Dean Ambrose. But he wasn't doing anything all that loony. He wasn't doing anything all that crazy. And so we came up with this concept for the Asylum match that would have all these weapons, and we all had ideas for what the weapons would be, and Dean wanted to use thumbtacks. I said, there's no way Vince is going to approve it. But Vince did. I'm like, well, good for you, man. You want to take the bump in the tacks? Go for it. Because the original plan was for me to win. Then Vince changed his mind, changed the angle, and Dean's winning. So then I realized, like, I have to be the one to take this bump into the tacks.
This didn't go the way I was planning on this at all.
This sucks. Because the reason for that is, he's like, he still wanted to take the bump into the tacks, but you can't. You can't take this bump and then win. And I'll tell you the reason why. You can watch wrestling, you can be a huge wrestling fan, but you don't know really what it feels like to get body slammed or suplexed. You can see it and envision it, but you really don't know just how rattling that is. Yeah. But what everybody knows the feeling of is getting pricked with a needle, go to the doctor and he gives you a needle, or you hit it with a sewing needle or whatever. You know that feeling of like, ouch, you're getting stung by a bee, whatever it may be.
Oh, I know that feeling because when I get shots, I hide under my pillow,
right.
So I know exactly. And my mom has had to pull me out from underneath my pillow.
That's what I'm saying. So you know to fall into these thumbtacks, and they're real thumbtacks, you would go, that's crazy, that would hurt so much. Does it hurt? Yes. Does it hurt as much as you think it's going to hurt? No, the anticipation of it was way worse. But I had to take that bump because it was for the betterment of the match. And that's why I did it. So is there anything I won't do in the ring? If it makes for a better match and needs to happen within reason, I'll do it.
Which is what has made you so wonderful, because you're so committed to it. No, it's
committed. Yes, you have to commit.
Absolutely.
You have to commit. It's like being an improv comedian. You have to commit to everything you do, because if you don't, and there's any doubt at all, it's not going to work.
Yeah. We're on Facebook Live, as we said earlier. We have a message from Stephen Brown, and I want to talk about this a little bit, because you are so successful with Fozzy, and you guys are working on some new stuff right now, right? You're going on tour?
The album comes out October 13th, and the tour resumes September 26th.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Stephen wants to know, he says, Y2J, I want your band to play at my wedding. And it's not really a question, but maybe a request. So.
There you go, weddings, parties, anything. If there's a place to play and a place to plug in and a good group of people that want to rock, we'll play anywhere.
That's awesome. Before we get into the 10 for 10 challenge, I have one last thing for you. In the book, you say you're proud that you've never become complacent. We talked a little bit about reinventing yourself, changing it up a little bit. To that end, what is out there for you still that you want to accomplish? You've accomplished so much already.
I get that question asked quite a bit, and to me, all I wanted to do was be in a rock and roll band and be a wrestler. All of these other things have stemmed from that, from not putting myself into a box, for not being complacent, like you said. So, I never expected to have one of the world's most popular podcasts. I never expected to host a show about giant robots fighting each other. But when I heard about the concept of it, I said, that's pretty interesting. I'd like to do that. So I don't really say I need to do this, and this, and this. To me, it's all about entertaining. If I can continue to do what I've been doing for the last 27 years and entertain people and bring in new people to the Jericho party, then I'm happy with it. I'd love to do more acting. I've had some great stuff, but never something like on a big level, which I think I could do very easily. That's one thing that's kind of always in the back of my head. Acting, but more acting.
Book, maybe, eventually?
Another book, I would have an idea for a 5th book.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that I will continue to do, but I'll tell you this. If it means being 75 years old and playing an acoustic guitar at the back of the Starbucks for spare change, I'll never stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not exactly 9 to 5 material.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to show up working in a bank or something. I probably could never do that because I don't have the right education for it anyways.
Jericho.
The Bank of Jericho, right. Cash it in, man.
Yeah.
So, I
think we're onto something
yeah,
here.
There you go. Yeah, just do like piggy banks, sell them around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so to me, it's always continued to challenge myself creatively. That's what I'm going to continue to do.
I like that. I think I think everybody's going to like that.
Well, thank you.
With that said, we're going to move on to the 10 for 10 challenge. We're not going to have you jump on any thumbtacks for this.
Thank you.
And this is a new thing for you to accomplish.
I heard men have died by taking this challenge.
Oh, yes, he has.
Wow. Okay.
I'll go easy on you, I promise. Maybe. Well, we'll see. You'll let me know at the end.
I'll find out. Okay.
Okay, 10 questions, 10 seconds to answer each, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
First one, a lesson from your book that stands above the rest for you, something you want people to take away from the book, main point.
Like I said, one word to describe this is positivity. Get rid of the negative, focus on the positive. And like I say in the afterword of the book, instead of waiting around to make something happen, go make it happen. It's for the world is here for our taking.
Favorite Fozzy song?
Well, Judas probably is the biggest one, and there's a song
awesome.
called "Sin and Bones" that I love playing live. It's my favorite song to play live, and it's not a hit, but to me, it's one of those songs that I just always love to do.
It's a hit for you.
It's a hit to me, yeah.
Oh, I like that. Heel or babyface?
Well, I mean, as long as people are making a reaction, giving a reaction, either is good. But I've been a 6-time world champion. Every one of them was as a heel. So tell me which one I like better. Heel is much more fun. It's always a lot easier to make people hate you than it is to make them like you. But when they start hating you, they instantly want to like you. It's like look,
the list.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the greatest villains of all time. Darth Vader, Terminator, Dr. Lecter, Freddy Krueger. They all start out as these terrifying heels, and then because they're so entertaining, are all baby faces.
Fair.
So that's the same thing in wrestling.
That's pretty cool. That's fair. What is your favorite match in the WWE? One that you look back on and you say, oh.
The go-to one to me is the ladder match with Shawn Michaels, No Mercy 2008. And the reason for that was the match was incredible, but the 7-month angle that led up to it for the world title, this ladder match was. And the original plan was for Shawn and I to work one pay-per-view in April. We didn't like that. We thought we could do more. And here we are going all the way to October to fight for the world title. That to me was the best match that I've ever had for all those reasons.
Awesome. Midnight snack craving.
Usually if I've been drinking and you get that munchy thing, I love pizza. But I think the biggest one that I'll eat at night is just, my kids really like Cheetos. You know, the orange Cheetos? I'll go and eat a whole damn bag of those things because you can't stop. When you're done, it's like a 5-pound weight in your gut. It feels so bad, but it tastes so good. So I'm also a big pie guy. I love cherry pie. I love apple pie. Ooh. That's my favorite dessert.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I know, me
good.
too,
yeah.
me too.
All right. Pie, Cheetos, this is gonna be, we're gonna regret this.
Right.
You brought up your kids, that's I feel like you're like on top of what your good segues for me. Something your kids do that turns you into a total softie, so something that you can't say no to when they appeal to you, kind of a thing.
I think at this age, my kids are 11-year-old twins and 13-year-old son, and the girls are twins and the son. When they still just want a hug, you know what I mean? Like, you lose that right as your kids grow older as a parent, like, you know, kissing your daughters on the lips or kissing your son on the lips.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. And even shows of affection, like, just like, you know, hug. That to me is the one thing that never goes away. That feeling that you get for that, you know?
So they'll come up to you and they'll be like,
yeah, you want to hug, yeah. And it's rarer and rarer because, you know, I'm becoming that dad now that's not cool because your dad's never cool when you're a teenager. Isn't that funny?
What?
Yeah.
You're selling out shows, people wearing your shirts, loving you, and you're not cool.
I posted a picture on, I filmed a show in Toronto a couple weeks ago, and I posted a picture of myself in a French maid's outfit, and my daughter was like, you take that down right now. I have friends that follow your Instagram. Do you know what this makes me look like? How you are such a nerd, you're embarrassing me. I'm like, oh. I'm just getting started embarrassing you. Trust me.
These poor kids.
Another thing I do is whenever I pick them up from school and they know it's coming because there's all the kids waiting, and I go and pull up and I always honk the horn, and they was like, Dad, how'd you do that? And I pull up, they're like, don't do it. Don't you do it. So, I don't know, it makes me laugh. So.
That's fun. It sounds like you're a fun dad, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a choice for you. It might be tough. The light-up jacket or the scarf?
Well, I mean, the light-up jacket is another iconic part of the Jericho, persona, but they're really a pain in the ass because there's nothing else like them. So they had a tendency to break, especially the first two. The wires are really thin, so these stupid things would be breaking, and the lights would be going out, and half the thing wouldn't be working, and so the scarf, the light-up scarf, well, actually the scarf on its own is great, but the light-up scarf, which looks more like a Jewish rabbi's, so I guess they're all Jewish, a rabbi's, yeah. And but with the lights on and stuff, it's really cool. It's very easy to transport because when you go through TSA with those jackets, everybody obviously wants to look for them.
No one else has to deal with, but him.
But think about it. Wires, metal, batteries, a remote control. It's like if they're not checking this, and sometimes they don't, that's when I'm scared.
Yeah, they're like, excuse me, sir, move to the side. We're gonna need you for another hour.
Or it just comes right through. Like, here you go. You didn't see like everything in here.
Scary.
It's like a recipe for a bomb. You have to check this.
That's too funny. Oh my gosh. All right, here you go. The catchphrase of yours that you love the most.
It's probably you just made the list. I mean, I have so much fun with that. Mm-hmm. The other one I like that used to really get a lot of heat was just saying quiet over and over again. Quiet, which is the dumbest thing, but people would get so mad at it. Yeah. And stupid idiots. Now everyone wants to be called a stupid idiot, but I was actually getting people booing me by calling them stupid idiots at first. And Vince even said to me, McMahon, he's like, you're the only guy in the world that can get away with that can call people stupid idiots and they want to kill you. And you're the only guy in the world that I would allow to call people stupid idiots because it's the dumbest insult ever. But
it works. It works.
And then probably old school one, Ross Jericho's always a winner. Yeah. That's probably the one, yeah.
For sure. Okay, how will you celebrate the release of your book, No is a four-letter word, tomorrow? Mm-hmm.
Well, it started today, being here with yourself.
Aww.
Yeah, like all these fine people here. But I think, and that's something I talk about in the book, it's the 12th ninja principle of sometimes you got to drink it in, man. You got to sit back. And I actually got that from Paul McCartney when he said that on stage. I'm just going to sit here for a second and drink it in. You have to do that sometimes because you move so fast, so many projects, so much stuff going on. Sometimes you just have to slow down and go, you know what? This is pretty cool. Like, what a great moment this is to be here, even doing your show. Like, honestly, like there's
this. It's a great moment to have you here. We're loving it.
And that's what I mean. So enjoy it. So what am I going to do tomorrow? The same thing I'm doing today, just in a different area with different people. I have a signing tomorrow night, one of many, the first of many. That's always fun to meet the fans. Like I said, don't ask me to put you on the list because I won't.
Chris, don't lie. You're going to have Cheetos and you're going to have pizza to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
let's be real. But I wasn't even thinking about the night because I got to get up the next day at 6 a.m., So I will do. I'm going to go.
I'm going to put you through your paces here. So
I'm going to go for dinner tomorrow. I'm going to go for a steak dinner tomorrow night
now
at a nice restaurant after my signing.
That's the way to
You're
celebrate.
All invited.
There you go.
And you're buying.
Okay, last one. Here we go. Yeah. We're going to end with the most epic preview of all time. There is a story in your book, Mr. Jericho.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Is it about you?
No, it's not. It's not. I don't think
Which one is it?
At least. I'm going to read it to you.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
Finally, my persistence paid off one day when I was making my daily play dumb call, and the lady at the end of the line took my upgrade number, messed around on the computer for a minute, and asked what seat I'd like in first class. I couldn't believe I'd actually succeeded for once and ran around my sparsely furnished apartment doing the first class dance. If you want to see this little jig, constant reader, ask me to show it to you the next time I see you.
Okay, so this is the cool thing, and you are awesome for picking that out. In my first book, I used to actually seriously do what I called the Nitro dance. And that meant I was working for WCW, Ted Turner's company, and the big show was called Nitro. It went up against Raw. But I would never get booked on Nitro. I was too low on the card to make it to the main show. So every Monday they would call you, or so Sunday they would call you and tell you if you were on Raw on Monday, or Saturday, whatever. You would get a call once a week. And actually, let's phrase that. You had to call an answering machine, and when you called, they would list all the people that were on Nitro. So I would call every week and hear all of these names, and it's literally 50 people, and I'm not on it. But the few times that I was on it, I would literally do the Nitro dance. I mean, Nitro, I'm on Nitro, I'm on Nitro, I'm on Nitro, 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 N-I-T-R-O. And continue. So I put that in the book. If you want to see it, ask me. Yeah. So then every book I put something in there about a dance that I do for a certain thing. And there is no first class dance. I just put it in there. It's like Van Halen with the green M&Ms. They wanted that in there just to make sure people were reading. So now that I know that you actually really read the book. Yes, exactly.
Just messing around.
So yes, the first class dance. I'll figure it out. I'll work on it. My next appearance on your show, I will do a full-on production choreography first class dance.
I expect it.
I will.
I know you've done the dance.
And you'll be involved.
I was going to say, can this be our first class dance?
Yes, it will be. Absolutely. The first class dance.
Yeah. We're gonna do this next time for sure.
Exactly. Jerica is what we're gonna call ourselves. Yeah.
The Jericho dance. I love that.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Do you guys like Jerica or Rebecca?
What do we think?
Where are we going with Jerica?
Okay,
so we're gonna do Team Jerica. That's
Team
us.
Jericho all day.
Yeah, boy.
I love it.
All right.
Okay, everybody, take a listen. There's a lot to talk about at the end here. You're doing a lot, so.
That's all right.
All right.
Oh, we're still going.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
We.
I'll stay here all day. I don't care. I thought this was the end, though. I was like,
no,
oh,
this
it's
is
already.
the end. I'm gonna plug all your stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Good point.
But we will hang out. I mean, look, you can stay here as long as you want. But, guys, you're great. No is a 4-letter word. This is out tomorrow. Obviously, you want to read it. Hello, look at all these crazy, amazing stories and all these great principles. Tomorrow, you're going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Tribeca at 5 p.m. doing a book signing, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Also, Chris is out doing a million things. He has his Talk is Jericho podcast, so if you want to take a listen to those really cool interviews, check him out there. And then also, Fozzy is on tour, so go check them out when they're in a city near you. Did we hit the main points?
I have a bake sale down the street in the Bronx. My brownies and cookies are amazing to die for.
To die for. No Cheetos, no pizza. Just brownies and cookies.
Is that right?
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.